Oh, that's a great way to start the show. A little shot of Melissa seeing if she has chocolate in her teeth.
Is there chocolate in my teeth?
Do I have chocolate in my teeth?
Do you have it in my teeth?
Well, welcome to the always classy Sunday Night Fiction Club, everybody. Tonight we are doing a special show on the late, great Robin Williams, who unfortunately, as you all know, passed away this past week. And joining Melissa Lummis, my wonderful and awesome co-host, is the wonderful and awesome Xavier Granville. Welcome back to the show, Xavier.
Thanks, buddy. You might want to introduce yourself while you're at it.
Yeah.
My name is Buddy Gott.
Yeah, you are.
Yes, I am. Yes, I am. And, I'm here with my good friends, Melissa and Xavier, and we welcome all of you who are watching live, who are going to watch it later, and we're going to talk about our favorite Robin Williams performances tonight. And before we do that, though, we have a little tradition, a little ritual here on Sunday Night Fiction Club where we discuss what we are reading. We kind of work that fiction into the show, or nonfiction, whatever the case may be. Xavier, our lovely and talented guest, what have you been reading lately?
I've been reading I think it's called The Atlantis Plague by A.G. Riddle. It's one of those Amazon sci-fi top charters, so I wanted to see what all the hullabaloo is all about.
Oh, okay. Kudos on using hullabaloo, by the way.
As an awesome word.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of it. I would relate it to a lot like Dan Brown in that sense of like being like a really fast-paced sci-fi, but it's got a lot of deep rooted to the just old mythologies and stuff like that, because it has stuff to do with Atlantis, but it's all built around with a lot of historical references and stuff like that. So it's this CIA-esque all these secrets and all this stuff going on. So eventually there's going to be some sort of bomb going off. It's very fast-paced adventure kind of thing.
Is all of the hullabalooism worth it? I mean, is it...
So far, it hasn't gotten to... I'm about halfway through it now, and I think it's about like a 80 to 100,000 word book. So yeah, so far I've been enjoying it. We'll find out at the end of the book if actually the hullabaloo was worth anything at all.
Awesome. And Mrs. Lummis, whichever you prefer. What's up? How you doing?
I'm okay. It's been an interesting week, and sad news this week, of course, and hit me strangely. But reading-wise, I have been delving into Molly Fide. Have you all read that yet?
I haven't read, but I know of it.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of good things about it. You haven't heard of it?
Enlighten me.
Hugh Howey, right?
Yes, it's one of Hugh Howey's series, and I believe it won some sort of award. I don't know, but I just started reading it last night, so I'm only 2 chapters into it, but it's definitely a space odyssey kind of story. And I just finished mutual friend of ours, Trish McCallan's Forged in Fire, one of the Red Hot Seals novels. It was good. Man. It was very good. I enjoyed it.
Was it red hot?
It was red hot.
Wow. Okay,
Highly recommend it to my romance, action, adventure fans.
Was there a dry seat in the house?
Ha 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 ha.
Okay, well, it sounds like you enjoyed that quite a bit. That's good.
Oh yes, I did.
Yes. For me, I started.
Trish.
The other day, I started reading a book. It's a murder mystery. It's called The Sweetest One. It's a Paul Kingston mystery. There's 2 books so far in this series featuring this character, Paul Kingston. The author is Stephen L. Moss, a guy I just recently got to know online. He's actually going to be a guest, I think sometime in September on Buddy's writing show. And it's really good. This main character, Paul Kingston, he is a musician. He's a guitarist. He was in like a band, I think, that was on the verge of really being popular, and some bad things went down, including something with like the singer of this band. And this book starts out, that singer has been it's some years later, but the singer has been murdered, and this main character, Paul Kingston, is, I guess, like the prime suspect in it. So he's going around trying to solve it himself, and really, really, really good. Thoroughly enjoying it. Right now, I can't put it down. So, if you like your murder mysteries, I recommend that by Stephen L. Moss, The Sweetest One.
Cool.
Yeah. So, my friends, let us talk about our topic at hand now, and that is remembering Robin Williams.
Oh, okay, let's have a moment to just remember.
Yes. What a bummer, huh?
Oh, yeah.
What a bummer. We're going to keep it light and fun tonight, but really,
yeah.
it shocked everybody. It shocked the whole world. And what's I thought was kind of amazing. Maybe I shouldn't have found it that amazing. Was that it hit like everybody. I work with like people. I work with this one guy. He's only like I think 18 and a half, and he was like as bummed out as I was. And I was bummed out. I was a fan of Robin since Mork and Mindy started, but everybody, even kids like that guy, probably younger kids like your kids, Melissa.
Yep.
Robin Williams, played a pretty big part in our lives, with the movies and the different things that he had done. So everybody was, really shocked and saddened by this.
Yeah, my daughter, I cried. I cried. And my daughter's sitting over there, and she's like, "What's wrong, Mom? What's wrong?" And I'm trying to tell her what's going on.
I totally agree.
And she said, I tell her, Robin Williams died, and she's like, Who's Robin Williams? And I was like, you know who he is, and because we had just watched Hook the other night. We watch it every now and then. It's one of our favorites. And then she's like, Peter Pan died? Oh my gosh. And then we watched Mrs. Doubtfire. We've had a whole Robin Williams movie binge watching thing going on, and we watched Mrs. Doubtfire the other night. And Aladdin. He improvised that role. They changed it around for him.
I had heard that. And he was, oh my God, so hilarious. And that's not a movie I would have normally watched, but I watched it just because of, him in it.
There's over 48 hours of improvisation, and I just love the idea of being able and this is just I'd known about this this was a joke that a bunch of us guys working in film and TV would talk about how just with sound you always will be recording to a script, and just the idea of money that was spent recording an extra 48 hours of Robin Williams is preposterous on an industry scale, but at the same time I would love to hear all 2 days of Robin Williams improvisation. That would be hilarious. It's the fact that it's in a unit of measurement of days. 2 days of him just, I'm talking over here, then I'm talking over there. And
the way he did the character, Genie, was just fan-friggin-tastic. It's just, my kids, adore that movie. And I think that's, if you look at the length of his career from the time I was a kid watching him on Mork and Mindy, which he improvised that role, I think that was one of the first sitcoms that they allowed improvisation on set. But it, and he touched everybody. He was able to connect with all ages. That was part of his magic, from early on.
Oh yeah, definitely. I remember watching him the first time he was on Happy Days before Mork was spun off.
Yes.
Into Mork and Mindy, and everyone's just like, oh my God, this guy is just insane. And I saw some quotes from Henry Winkler, who played the Fonz on Happy Days this week, talking about working with Robin Williams and how you just, he was even then, one of his first roles, he was improv, and he said you just didn't know what was going to come out of his mouth, but he said even then he knew he was in the presence of this great genius. And that was that was his first TV appearance, right? Was on Happy Days. Well, yeah, one of them. He actually, I don't know if you guys knew this. Remember the TV show Laugh-In from the 60s? It was really big. It was Goldie Hawn got her start there. It was such a funny variety show. NBC tried to revive that in the 70s. The season before Mork and Mindy came out, they put out a new laugh in, which lasted like maybe 6 weeks. I want to say it was very short-lived, but Robin Williams was on there as one of like the cast members on there, and I remember it bombed. But like after Mork and Mindy came out, and you know, he was a household name, they like reran it, and I remember watching it. And really, the show wasn't very good except for him. But you know, you got to see him be zany on there. But yeah, Mork and Mindy. I mean, once that hit, you know, well, we've all known it. We all knew and loved him ever since that.
I mean, there are so many. I mean, let's just talk about Mork and Mindy for a minute. There are so many moments, just classic moments, like when he's got the bowl of eggs. He's talking to the bowl of eggs. He's like, I guess she told him to, you know, make breakfast, and he's like, "Fly, be free," and throws the egg in the air.
Right. What I really love, and you know, unfortunately, the show's like the ratings went down like each year because unfortunately ABC like they tried to screw with the formula. They kept moving it around. They did. Oh, we got this big hot show. Let's move it around the schedule some, and the ratings kept going down. And unfortunately, the quality went down because they kept throwing in all these, you know, extra characters who really didn't need to be there. But what I loved was the final season of that, where they brought in Jonathan Winters.
I knew you were going to say it.
Who was Robin Williams' idol, because you know Jonathan Winters was like kind of really wacky and out there with his humor. So they had him come on and play Mork's son, Mork and Mindy's son, and it was just, I used to watch those and just seeing those two together, and you know so much of it was improv. It was just hilarious. I would want to buy that season of the show. I don't own any Mork and Mindy, but that season I would like to have. Good stuff.
That was good. That was really awesome stuff. I remember being fascinated as a kid with the whole storyline of that last season.
Yeah, it was odd. And then, you know, shortly after that, he started making the movies. Well, even while he was on Mork and Mindy. And had you guys seen Popeye? That was the first big, you know, blockbuster that Robin was in. Yeah. What are your thoughts on Popeye? Because Popeye's got like not the best rep in the world, although it's definitely got its audience.
I'm a big fan of it, actually. Like, I like, aside from Robin Williams, like, you know, it's got Harry Nilsson doing the music on that one.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So, yeah, that's all like original tunes by him, and yeah, they're all just like so original, like fun songs, and you know, like as much as, you know, like it's silly, like with Robin Williams as Popeye, and like it's as much as you can't really make a live adaptation of a cartoon character that's so cartoony in the look.
Right.
Like it's as if, like, you know, like when it's the same when it goes to, like, you know, Jim Carrey as the Grinch. You know, like there's only so far that you can twist the human figure to go into the exaggerated comical proportions that were portrayed in cartoons. So there's only so much that you can do. But Robin Williams is probably one of those, you know, he's good for bringing that, you know, out of the box and larger than life attitude to it.
I think he brought that character to life. I mean, if anybody could bring that particular cartoon character to life, it was Robin Williams.
Definitely. I remember not being like the biggest fan of it when it came out. I didn't see it in the theaters. I think I wanted to because I was such a Robin Williams fan, but watched it on cable because it used to show up on cable a lot. And yeah, it's like you said. I mean, it was like it wasn't going to be much better than it was. You know, no. I mean, they did a good thing with it, and Robin was awesome. Hey, I wanted to just allude to the comments here. We do have some live viewers, so thanks all who are watching live. I see Michelle Reed checked in. She said Xavier was classing the place up. I think she must have a little earlier.
Yeah, I don't really understand. How am I classing the place up? What did I do?
You were just being you, brother, and that's all you need to do.
Well, if that's what if that's what it takes, right back at you, Michelle.
Scott, is it Altram?
Yep, Outram.
He says the genie is free. All aboard the Feels bus.
Yeah, all the feels are.
No, Patrick Stamp is also with us.
God.
Michelle had put Peter Pan, and she put a sad face.
Yeah. Oh, my kids we love that movie as a family, and I think that one too. You know, the whole bangarang. I mean, the young 20s, I say young 20-somethings like I'm some old coot over here, but I think that, you know, connects really well with the young crowd.
Yeah, no, and that's my generation of people, so it makes a lot of sense. Like, I grew up watching Hook, and Yeah, I've watched Hook so many times as a kid, and like just about like I would say less than a month ago, I realized that Scott Outram had Hook on Blu-ray, so I sat myself up in my room and watched it,
Mm-hmm.
and I ended up watching it another 2 times afterwards.
It's a great movie.
Yeah, and I was just sitting there, really just as an adult, like really taking it in of the story of it takes this father having to remember what it was like to be a kid again in order to actually become a good father again, the contrast with Dustin Hoffman. Dustin Hoffman. Like he's like you can't really even say much more. Like he's so good as Captain Hook.
Oh, he is.
And just like that crazy, like he's suicidal, and like don't try to stop me this time.
Yeah.
and like I just like the metaphor of like he is a man that's bound in this land that doesn't have any set rules of time, but at the same time he is kind of condemned to this kind of crooked body and doesn't have any real purpose in life other than wanting to kill Peter Pan. So when he realizes that that Peter Pan's all fat and old now and doesn't know how to fight or fly or crow, it really just shuts him down. Like he's having an existential crisis.
Yeah.
Like Captain Hook.
And
I thought that's amazing.
Yeah, for a lot of people, it seemed like they didn't, I don't know if they just, so a lot of people didn't like it for whatever reason. I've even heard Steven Spielberg say that he wishes that it had been a little different. But for me, I was always there. I think I saw the movie 3 times in the theaters. I loved it right from the beginning.
Yeah.
And it's just so many great scenes in there. I posted the other day on Facebook the scene where all the Lost Boys, no one really believes it's him, and then the one little boy is like touching his face and he's like making him smile, and he's oh, Robin, there you are. And it's just such a sweet scene, and there's a lot of funny scenes, a lot of sweet scenes like that. And then you mentioned where he pretty much Peter Banning has to remember, the kid inside of him, and then he gets that happy thought, that makes him smile.
And that's so like revelationary how he because he doesn't, it's through the teddy bear that his happiest thought is him when he was holding his child for the first time. So and he remembers why he left Neverland was because he wanted to be a father.
Right.
And I thought like that. That's just such an amazing little package. Just in that, so it reinforces everything that you've built up. You've seen why this character at the beginning, you're trying to understand how it got to this point that he has, started to push his family away, and the business is all his life. Like how you're rooting for him the entire time, but you don't know what's the problem. Really, until he goes to Neverland and he sorts himself out, and it's just a beautiful personal transformation done through outside influences. It's really good.
Yes.
Well, my favorite scene, I love the whole movie, but my favorite scene is when they sit down to eat dinner and there's no food in it. He can't see the food, and the kids are all, as far as he can tell, pretending to eat. And then they start that back and forth with, what was the other kid's name? The one with the mohawk. Rufio. And they're going back and forth.
Yeah,
like, you're a very rude little boy and all this. And they're going, boo. Because he forgets what it's...
Bobber.
Right. And, you see it when he starts riffing back and forth with him, and it's starting to grow on him, and then he takes that spoon and takes it around the bowl, and when it goes, that was I just love that. It's like, there it is. There's
Yeah.
the magic.
And the kids are like rooting him. They're like, "You're doing it, Peter. You're doing it."
Doing it.
It's funny. John Reed, Michelle Reed's husband, just left a comment. He said, "Rufio." And Michelle actually says the scene in Hook where he has to reach out to his kids in the net. Oh my goodness, it breaks me. Yeah, that's another great scene. A couple other comments here. Jim Giblin popped in. He says, "Good evening, all. Sorry I've been away for a while, but when I saw the topic, I had to at least stop by. So thank you for stopping by, Jim."
Thank you.
Yeah, so I think a lot of people love Hook. I've heard a lot of people mention that this past week. We got so many different movies to talk about.
Know.
Maybe we should hop around a little bit.
Yes.
My fiance Lisa had mentioned her two favorites were Good Morning Vietnam.
Yes.
And
Awesome.
Dead Poets Society. So I think we could
Yes.
spend a little. I think we should spend a little time talking about those two movies.
Yeah,
I got to start with the Dead Poets Society. This came out in 1989, and really, really hit home with me. Absolutely loved this. I was going off to college to study to be an English teacher. And that whole movie and everything he's talking about, the way he introduces himself to the kids, the Carpe Diem, quoting Whitman, and it just, I think it was the first time I saw Robin Williams do a serious role. Was that his first?
He'd done a couple, but I don't think anything that had really touched the audience and was a really big hit until that one.
Yeah. Well, other than probably Good Morning Vietnam.
Right.
Oh,
was
okay,
that before? Was that before?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was 2 years before.
But even in that, he's kind of doing that whole comic. It's a serious topic, and I remember that one where he's going into that place to have tea and it gets bombed. And so there was a very serious story being told there, but he was doing his comedy stuff in that one. This one, it's none of that really. I mean, it is and it isn't. It's him and him bringing life to the role. But it was the day I heard he died. I came home and I said, after dinner, I'm like, I just want to watch Dead Poet Society and cry. And I did. And it's just, to this day when I watch that movie, it gets to me. And I think it is one of those roles. He brought his spark to his characters. And while I think he had a range, he had an awesome range, awesome reaching character, he made it uniquely his. And he did that with Keating. When he's sitting in, do you guys remember the scene where he's having lunch with the other teachers, and he's going back and forth with the other English teacher?
Vaguely. It's been a while since I've seen it.
And, the older guy gives some quote, and Keating comes back, oh, Tennyson, and then Keating comes up with his own quote, and I'll have to search for it. I meant to write it down to have it ready because I'm winging it tonight. But the other teacher looks at him and goes, is that Tennyson? And he's like, Keating. And it was just, there was that spark of Robin Williams to that, but it was that magic he brought to the characters, how he really made them come to life. And he had a way of reaching out to you, connecting all the time, just about every role.
Mm-hmm. That's true. That's very true. Yeah, that movie, you guys know I live in Delaware, and that movie was filmed in Delaware. Dead Poets Society was filmed in Delaware, so that's kind of neat. That was such a big deal when they were filming it here, because it would always show up in the local newspaper that Robin Williams was seen at one place or another, and you always wanted to kick yourself. It's just like, I was just in that restaurant last week. Why couldn't I have been in there when Robin Williams was there? And a couple shots in there. Were filmed in my old town of historic Newcastle, just a couple of shots, but I'm like, oh my God, I've stood in that one corner a bazillion times. And so, yeah, I got that little
been there.
Yeah, exactly. But that's such a fantastic movie. And yeah, that's one of the first ones, where we got to see that, really the range of his acting. It had always been there. I think you'll find that with a lot of the great comic actors and comedians, is that they can, tap into that, and you see so much more of them than you would have first expected to have seen. When you saw like Robin Williams, sitting down on his head on a couch on Mork and Mindy, you didn't think that years later you'd be seeing this kind of stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you remember? Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you go ahead. No,
Oh, I
you
was
go
going to
ahead.
say, do you remember how with the kids he would go, no, ding, thank you for playing anyway?
Yeah.
That inspired me as a teacher when I was teaching high school. I used to do that kind of stuff with the kids, and I really got inspired with that from his role as Keating in this movie. Just had to throw that out there.
What were you gonna say, Xavier? You were starting.
I was gonna bring up this comment by Jim Giblin because I was gonna talk about this film anyways. So
Oh, okay. I think I was just about to bring up the same one, so you go ahead.
Good. So he says, one of my favorite Robin Williams movies is What Dreams May Come, which helped for dealing with the loss of several friends in the 90s who died unexpectedly. Ever since his death, I've not been able to bring myself to watching the movie because of its spin on suicide. In many ways, I truly believe that Robin's creativity and gifts were a blessing from God, but for all good comes the curse of coming down from greatness. Yeah, thanks, Jim. That's
Thank you, Jim.
Great sentiment there. What Dreams May Come. That came out in 1998. And it's a very artsy film. Have either of you guys seen it?
Yes.
I have. I
Yes,
saw that a couple times in the theaters. I liked that quite a bit.
Yeah, likewise. I thought that was it's so heartbreaking, that entire film.
It is.
Now, is that the one where the quote comes? Because it's been a while since I've seen it, but there's a quote that there's a tribute that's going around, and there's a whole quote throughout the. Because they take him and show him his life. Remember?
Mm-hmm.
And there's a quote about looking up to the stars.
No. Well,
okay.
It might be. No. I think that the looking up to the stars, that's from a different thing.
Okay.
I don't think that is a Robin Williams quote. I think that's a quote from someone else that Zelda Williams had posted as just a nice memoriam.
Now, there was one that it's him talking. So he had said it in a movie, and I thought it was from this one.
I thought it was from Jack.
Okay.
Which is also really sad. But yeah, with What Dreams May Come, that's all about a man who's died. In the first couple minutes of the movie, it shows how just in brief little glimpses you're coming to know this man he's already lost 2 children in a car accident, and then he unfortunately passes away. So he's gone off to what he's slowly experiencing as the afterlife, and coming to grips with that. And it's very touching and beautiful, and also it gets really emotionally sad when as someone who's dead, he's looking down on his wife, who's now just broken because she's lost 2 kids and a husband now. It's it's a great, I wouldn't even put it as a religious film at all, because it's but it's very spiritual and existential in that sense, but it doesn't draw from any faith or anything like that. It's just a very touching and moving and poignant questioning of what is going on afterwards, and what we might, hopefully what closure we might be able to get, because obviously in life we don't get that, and
right.
Obviously, and that's been proved really drastically this last week, with the loss of Robin Williams. It's how many people are sitting who besides the people that never knew him, all the people that he's actually met and had to deal with, now there was a spot in people's hearts that he filled, and now it's empty again. It sucks.
Yeah. Well, do you remember the scene where I think his wife's in the bathroom or something? She's leaning up against a cabinet. She's on the floor, and he comes to talk over her shoulder. And, you kind of get the idea that even though she's not directly hearing him, she's getting the message.
Yeah.
Being able to move on and have that closure and let go. It was just that scene.
It's a very good movie, and it wasn't a big blockbuster movie, but I think if anyone is curious about it and they want to check it out, they should. Very good movie. Great story, and he's fantastic.
Another serious role he did, and I just watched this movie last night, was Awakenings. I've seen it many times, but I hadn't seen it in a couple of years. Did you all see Awakenings?
That's one I actually haven't seen. I know it's got De Niro in it as well,
Yes.
correct?
Yes. It's a fantastic movie. Have you seen it, Buddy?
I have. Yeah. It was a fantastic movie. I'm struggling to remember it though, so I haven't seen it since I saw it in the theater. So I'm gonna go.
But it was fantastic.
It was. It was. It was great. But I'll tell you, a lot of movies though that are a little, dark in some way or kind of a downer. I mean, I tend not to watch them over and over again. So even I can say and honestly mean I thought it was fantastic, but it's just not one that I would watch over and over again. It's like Schindler's List, great movie, but I'm not going to watch it over and over again.
Yeah, I tend to watch those movies probably too many times. But I think what really touched me in that movie, and this is based on a true story, in that there are these people who had encephalitis, and they ended up basically going into, they thought they were, comatose, but they were rigid and they mostly wouldn't move. You could kind of get them into seated positions and things like that, and they would have what they thought were just reflexes. Like they discovered you threw a ball at one of them and they'd catch it just out of the blue. Catch it. But that's all they do. They have their arm up there stiff as a board, holding this baseball that somebody threw. And Robin Williams plays this doctor who ends up working at this sanitarium where there's about 20 of these people there. And he starts figuring out that he thinks that there's something going on with them, that they're not just all gone brain dead, that they can actually come out of it. And he ends up hearing about, this is when L-Dopa, a medicine they give Parkinson's disease, for Parkinson's disease. There's a lot of very strange coincidences in all of this that kind of give me like the chills sometimes. But he ends up figuring out that there's a possibility this L-Dopa could help bring these people out of it, and he starts administering it to one of the patients, which is De Niro's character. And it does. It wakes him up. That's why it's called Awakenings. And it's this whole, how he missed out on the last 20 years of his life or however long it's been. And he's, trying to live again. And he's woken up and he's excited. And when he finally figured out what's going on, and then it actually kind of, they get everybody else on this medicine and they wake up. And I thought it was this incredible metaphor for depression, actually, when the first time I ever saw it. I mean, it's based on a true story, but how when you come out of it and you're like, whoa, I'm alive, look at this, look at all these wonderful things, what have I been missing, But then inevitably, well, I shouldn't say inevitably, what they find out is the medicine stops having the effect after a while, and they slowly go back to the state they were in. And it was like, to me, again, a metaphor for depression, how you can come out of it, and if you're prone to it, how easily you can go back into it.
Right.
But the cool thing is that they start to realize that they can still bring these people about just with what they learned were these things that the people connect with, like music. There was a whole thing, and that's very touching to me because I connect so much with music. You had to play a certain song or a certain record to get the different people to react. Like one woman, she's going to town with the 20s, do. They couldn't figure out, and they couldn't figure out what the other guy would go to. And finally, I think they played Kiss the Sky or something like that. Jimi Hendrix. And this guy came out of it to Jimi Hendrix.
Oh, cool. Hey, I noticed that Scott did confirm in the comments that it was Jack that quote came from.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's from the his ending speech when he graduates from college, and he's like,
that's
ancient.
Yes.
Right. And here's a fun memory from Patrick Stemp in the comments here. He said, I had the Mork figure when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Cool.
It came with the egg. Yeah, so he could fly around the house. No idea what happened to it over the years. Probably had a run-in with G.I. Joe or a Transformer.
I had the Mork figure, but he played with Barbie, He got all the action. What can I say? The girls love me.
I had the Mindy figure, but I'm not going to go into that any further.
Nice. Was it a blow-up doll?
Anyway, on to the next comment. John Reed really liked the movie Toys. Strange but good. I never saw Toys. Did you guys see that one?
I actually haven't seen Toys. I've heard a lot of mixed things on it. Like, I know I will enjoy it when I watch it because of Robin Williams, but at the same time, what I've heard is that it's very just strange and kind of
I've just seen bits and pieces from it. I remember seeing the scene where they're going over the vomit.
Oh, okay. Wow.
There's toy vomit, and they're all standing around discussing the different types of vomit.
Interesting.
This is the peas and carrots. It gives it life, and for some reason the walls are coming like a crossword. I think he even says in the movie when his line is like, "There's a crossword puzzle attacking us." I don't know what that was all about. Again, I only saw bits and pieces from the movie. So,
I think I need to. I'm not sure if I ever saw the whole movie of Jack, but it seems like people are mentioning Jack a lot. Michelle Reed says in the comments, she agrees that Jack is underrated. When the mom comes and answers the door wearing full Nerf gun armor because she's playing with him. That inspired her to play like that with her own children, which I do.
Very cool.
That is cool.
Yeah, I love Jack. Yeah, and Bill Cosby's in that movie.
Oh, he
too.
is. How about that?
That's great.
Yeah,
Is there Fran Drescher in there also?
Oh, I hope not.
Oh, okay, I thought she was. Maybe not.
Maybe she might be, but this is. Oh wait, I think she is.
I was someone who
I
developed
think
an
she
attraction
is.
to him without realizing what his situation really was, something like that.
Yeah, I couldn't remember, so I was just hoping that you were wrong.
Oh, wow.
Jack's great. And I love the moments with Bill, because Bill Cosby's kind of like his care worker or social worker. I don't know what exactly his job term was, but there's a lot of really nice moments. Like Bill Cosby and Robin Williams up in the tree house.
Nice.
And just because Robin Williams really, if anyone's gonna play a kid, it'll be Robin Williams, because he pulls it off, the childlike fascination, but at the same time, when it comes to because children deal with things a lot differently, especially when it comes to disappointment and sadness and stuff. And it's not so much like the things that'll make an adult sad.
Right.
So and I thought in Jack it captured that really well.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember him in Jumanji?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I never saw Jumanji, I gotta say.
That's one my kids really like.
Yeah.
And we all love. It's a great family movie, but it's kind of like that because he gets caught in the game, and he finally comes back. Yeah, and he finally comes back, and he's grown up.
Mm-hmm.
He's been gone all that time, and he's like, "Where's my mom and dad?" As a grown up, he doesn't realize he's grown up.
Yeah, in the jungle, you must wait until the dice read 5 or 8.
Yes, you remember all that.
Oh yeah. No, both Hook and Jumanji were the constants when I was a kid, for movies that and also Mrs. Doubtfire too, because
love that.
We'll get into that in a bit.
Yeah.
But Jumanji.
Jumanji.
Yeah, and that's got really young Kristen Dunst in it.
Oh really? How about that?
And is it Bonnie Hunt or Bonnie Tyler? I can't remember.
Oh, Bonnie Hunt. Bonnie Hunt's the actress in that.
Yeah, she's good in that. And it's just a great action comedy, because there's this mystical game that this kid finds, and he rolls this one move, and he gets sucked inside of the game, and 20-something years later, some other kids find the game, and so they start playing, but it's still the same game that was started 20 years ago.
Wow,
because the game has to be played to the end.
Yep.
That sounds better than I always thought it was.
Oh my god!
The movie, for whatever reason, didn't appeal to me before, but it sounds pretty good.
It's a seat-of-your-pants movie because it's so action. There's so much going on. And
and lots of great animatronic lions, and because the Jumanji is this jungle game, and all of this stuff is coming out of the game. So you'll roll, and your guy will advance, and they'll be on this circle. It'll read this really kind of cryptic rhyme that'll just essentially say that here comes some monkeys.
Yes, and the whole house gets taken over by the jungle as the game gets played.
Okay.
More and more stuff comes out.
Yep, crocodiles. There's so much stuff that's happened. Awful Venus flytrap, and poisonous barbed Amazonian type giant plant things. Yeah, there's
That sounds pretty damn good, actually.
yeah,
Hey.
the whole town gets taken over by Jumanji.
Wow.
And when the game is done, everything goes back. But you gotta play the game to the end.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Cool. I want to touch on some of the other comments here. MGon has joined us tonight. Thank you, MGon. And he says, yeah, greetings, friends. Good and kind of you to do the show for Robin Williams. It's our pleasure, MGon. Popeye was well done, but one time is enough for me. I always liked Hook. As for Dead Poets Society, tearjerker.
Yeah, it
My
is.
favorite Robin Williams movie is easily The Birdcage.
Ah!
There's a link there for anyone who's look it up on IMDb.
It's so funny.
Fantastic movie.
Oh, it is. He says he thinks it's hilarious. He's watched that one so many times, and will watch it many more times.
And what's the guy he stars with in that? What is his name?
Nathan Lane.
Thank you, Nathan Lane. Him and Nathan Lane. Talk about two big, iconic, funny men.
And perfect chemistry.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
my God.
absolutely.
Not one taking over. It was like they played with each other so well.
It was Bing Crosby, like that kind of moment where like an Abbott Costello, like this like dynamic duo, suddenly just like for one movie only, but man, was it magic.
Oh, my God.
Yeah,
I can't believe they didn't do more movies together. Maybe it was just like one of those one-time magical deal things, but they were so perfect together.
I think they might have appeared in other movies since, but never like in that that sense where it's like a booking of they're the two real main guys.
Yeah,
and one thing about that movie that I didn't realize, but it makes sense now. It was that movie that brought the whole drag queen thing out into mainstream. And it was like it kind of made it and I was watching an interview there's some big celebrity who does the show in Las Vegas called Divas. It's all drag queen. And he was talking about it and they were interviewing him and he said that, or she, I don't know, that it brought the whole drag queen, diva thing to mainstream and made it very popular. Like it wasn't before, and acceptable. And, everybody would go see it and love it. It was no longer, this kind of performance.
Yeah, well, that's a good point, because, like, otherwise there would have been, like, Priscilla, Queen of the Desert and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, as far as, like, someone who's not, like, kind of otherwise in the scene of that demographic, being either drag queens or transsexuals or transvestites or whatever that is, like that is like you said, like the Birdcage is a great gateway in that sense for being able to just have a realistic look on a lifestyle that otherwise is foreign to the mass public.
Exactly, and make it more acceptable, just
funny.
Yeah.
And entertaining, and take away some of that stigma.
Yeah. Some other really good actors. Gene Hackman was in that one as well.
Yes.
Callista Flockhart. That was like her first big thing before.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, she was the one, I guess, that their son was about to marry.
The fiance,
Yeah. So, very funny movie, and like the chemistry between those two was fantastic.
Yeah, and who was the son? I'm trying to remember now.
I can't remember the actor's name, but I remember he was really good. And
I'm shocked, buddy. I'm shocked. You always remember the actor's name.
I know. The actor was on the series.
Oh, right. Dan Futterman. Right.
Yeah, Dan Futterman. He was really good.
He was like on Will and Grace and stuff like that.
Was he?
Yeah.
Okay.
And he was on. I think he was on a show called Family Law or something like that too. I'm not sure, but he was around for a little bit.
And Hank Azaria as
how could you forget Hank Azaria?
The really over the top like fashion designer or interior decorator. I can't remember.
Yeah. That's
he was
one of his most famous roles.
Like he was like the Martin Sheen in Father of the Bride. Just like you thought that you were around like these queens. No, this guy is the queen. He comes in just like snapping his fingers, just like no. It was perfect. Like
one thing I wanted to talk about was now regular viewers of the show know that we always have an album of the week where I have a record album behind me.
Yes. Oh,
and we mentioned
my
that.
gosh.
However, we have 2 albums of the week tonight because Mr. Granville brought a really timely and appropriate
Ooh.
album of the week. You want to share that one with us, Xavier?
Sure. So I brought along this great gem.
Oh, Night at the Met. Oh my
Night
God.
at the Met. I remember seeing the HBO special for that. Hilarious.
Oh my God. His stand-up. I mean, we talk about all the movies he's done, but his stand-up.
Well,
out of this world. Out of. Didn't he do another one? Was that the 2008?
Yeah, no, this one's way old. This one's from,
that one's the older. But didn't in 2008 he do another one?
Yeah, weapons of self-destruction.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was the Live in New York previously before that.
Right. I remember Live. That was probably in the 80s or 90s there.
No, Live in New York I think was 2000.
Yeah. No, I'm sorry. I meant the one that you have there.
Oh yeah, that was 86.
Oh, okay. Wow. Wow. And how did you stumble upon that one? Because I doubt you had that in 19, or I don't even know if you were alive in 86.
Nope, I was negative 2 years.
Yeah.
No, I picked this one up sometime within the last year. I bought it when I was living in Toronto. I picked it up at a Sunrise Records along with the George Carlin comedy record.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. How about that?
The low price of $10 for
Nice.
Wow. Fantastic.
and the Carlin record. So it's nice knowing that like I spent $5, but that guy like that vinyl and just like the 60 minutes of like the double sides, like I took it home and immediately put it on. It's it's worth so much to me as like just having the vinyl of it. Like it's worth so much. Like it's just hearing like the crackle, like the and then and suddenly it's Robin Williams talking to you. Like that's like as much as you can get nostalgic about like like the crackle and hiss about putting a record on.
Mm-hmm.
It's when Robin Williams comes over the vinyl speakers.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Fantastic.
Yeah, when I was a kid, my parents really introduced me to stand-up comedy. I am a diehard stand-up comedy fan. I love to go see it live. I love to catch as much of it as I can. And it was Robin Williams that my dad had an album of. I remember listening to, and then oh God, I'm having a brain aneurysm.
On the name of the album?
Yeah.
Would it happen to be Throbbing Python of Love?
I think so.
All right, you finish with that, but I got a story for Throbbing Python of Love.
But my dad had, several different, classic comedians, and I listened to them all on vinyl. I would put them on and listen to them all on vinyl, and it's just such a memory for me, and it's like, ah.
Yeah.
So I envy you your vinyl there of A Night at the Met.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that is fantastic.
I
remember.
I imagine the price is going to to go up on those.
Oh, yeah.
Count on that, brother. Count on that.
It was very timely you found it when you did, Granville.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Lummis.
Well, I remember one of my favorite memories of Robin is always seeing him on the talk shows, and I used to be a big fan of the Johnny Carson show. And Johnny Carson, I don't know how well you guys remember him.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Every night.
but Johnny was always very, very cool. He was a cool guy.
Yes, he was.
But I've watched clips this past week that reminded me that if there was one person who could make Johnny lose it, it was Robin Williams. Robin would get on there, and he was just so jumping up out of his seat, being all over the place, all over the stage, and you see Johnny like crying, laughing at him. And I remember when Robin's album came out, Throbbing Python of Love, Johnny's holding it up like he would at the beginning when a guest came out, and he'd be promoting it. He was like, Robin's album here, Throbbing Python of Love. But he just threw the album up because the title, he's just like, whoa. But Robin's stand-up was just amazing. And here's something I want to encourage viewers to do, and that's to go to Xavier Granville's website and read Xavier's posting that he did this past week on Robin Williams. Where can people find that, Xavier? At
XavierGranville.blogspot.com.
Yeah, check it out, because Xavier did a wonderful posting about Robin and his works, and Xavier and I have something in common with this. One thing I loved in there was that you talked about how Robin was a big influence on you, and I feel the same way. Like you, I didn't necessarily aspire to be a stand-up comedian or even an actor. Well, a little bit, but like you, I write things that have a lot of humor in them, and I like to make people smile, like to make people laugh, and that boy, oh boy, Robin sure did that. Not only in his movies, but certainly in his stand-up stuff, and definitely an inspiration.
Yeah, one thing like. As much like I talked about how much I watched Hook and Jumanji as a kid. Like there's one scene in Mrs. Doubtfire that it inspired me so much as a kid, and that's the scene where he's at the job search bank and he's talking to the lady and she asks him like if he has any skills and he says, "Well, I do voices." Sorry, what do you mean you do voices? Well, I do voices. Yes! I'm just kind of searching for intelligence, like, oh, we made a mistake. So I'm to be in America. Don't ask for a green card. Like, as a kid, like, seeing, like, this manic, so many constant voices and impressions, it like, that's such a big thing on my childhood that like really just like triggered something in the back of my head where I'm like dialects and in impressions and just like the little things about people's voices. That's why I do a lot of that stuff, because he made it look so fun.
Yes.
And hats off to you, because you're definitely fun with that. Other people who've seen you on this show before know that you have got quite an array there of voices you do.
Well, and that's just it. Like, I learned, like I was inspired by that scene so much. Just like, and same like when he's playing with the dinosaurs, like, it's a dinosaurus time, da 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 da. Like, like. The James Brontosaurus, kong 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 kong. Like just him goofing around, so much fun.
Definitely. Okay, it's nothing to do with Robin Williams, but I will mention my album of the week for those who are anxiously awaiting it. Xavier, you mentioned the singer just the other day.
Yeah.
Sammy Hagar. Three Lock Box.
Awesome.
Classic stuff. Did you say he sounded like a rooster?
Yeah, I think yeah. It's only really on "Can't Stop Loving You" that I really.
Okay.
It's because it's when he goes. Can't stop loving you.
Oh, okay, you got a snort laugh out of me that time.
Yeah,
well, unfortunately that song's not on here because it was a Van Halen song, but it had "Your Love Is Driving Me Crazy."
Van Hagar.
Yeah, Van Hagar. And as much as I love David Lee Roth, definitely my preference for Van Halen singers, but I can't say anything bad about Sammy with Van Halen.
Yeah, like his solo work is much better than like the actual Van Halen Sammy Hagar stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I've seen. Oh man, I saw him in concert before. Guy puts on a great show. I gotta say.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah, actually, I saw him. It was the tour with him and David Lee Roth, where they were both out of Van Halen and they toured together, and it was just ridiculously, insanely good. But let's get back to Robin Williams here because we don't have much time left.
I have to say this about Xavier's blog post and Robin Williams. I mean, you just wrote my heart. You just really wrote my heart on that, Xavier. It was like, okay, more feels.
I thought it was done.
All right, more laughs.
Well,
I'll eat my chocolate and laugh more.
What kind of chocolate? What do you got going on there?
This is a salted Lummis, like I was calling him Granville. This is a salted dark chocolate, peach gummies, and grapefruit gummies, which are my favorite. But that all comes. I'm going to do a little ad. This all comes from a local candy store right down in our little own downtown called My Secret Stash.
Wow. I was just talking about my own secret stash earlier, but it's something entirely.
I love the name, I love the candy, and I love that it's local. And when I'm feeling sad, I go get some candy and watch movies. Just like going to the movies, pop some popcorn, eat some candy.
There you go. Now, there's a movie that. Do you guys remember? No, he wasn't the lead in this. Do you ever see Shakes the Clown?
Yeah.
No, I haven't seen that one.
Oh, okay. That was with
a long time ago.
Bob Goldthwait was in there as a clown, and Robin Williams had a cameo in there as a mime. And That was funny, and that leads me into another movie that Xavier we were all talking about beforehand. Xavier, what's the really strange movie that Robin was in with Ed Norton?
Death to Smoochie.
Death to Smoochie. Is that one of your own personal favorites?
Yeah, it definitely is. Like it was like that one came out in 2002, so it was one like when I was getting into my like teenager years, so I was just starting to really get into like a lot of the really raunchy Robin Williams, and that movie is so funny. I'll just read the description from IMDb. Kid show host Rainbow Randolph, played by Robin Williams, is fired in disgrace while his replacement, Sheldon Mopes, Edward Norton, a.k.a. Smoochie the Rhino, finds himself a rising star. Unfortunately for Sheldon, the kid's TV business isn't all child's play. It's directed by Danny DeVito.
Oh, nice.
And written by Adam Resnick, who he went on to write a bunch of more other stuff for...
Oh, yeah, he's done quite a bit.
Yeah, he's. I think he worked on SNL for a while.
Yeah, I think he's done stuff with Sandler even. I believe.
Yeah, but that movie is so funny just because, like I said, like Robin Williams plays this disgraced child star host, like this kind of like picture like Barney or like Mr. Dress Up or something like that. And then, like, remember like how there was the big scandal with Kevin Clash, the guy who did the voice of Elmo, and people were thinking that he was,
right.
Obviously he wasn't actually being, didn't actually do anything that he was being, incriminated for, but it's the fact that, it's Elmo that's, in the news, and, that's the big deal. Mm-hmm. So with Robin Williams' case in the movie, he like is embezzling and indicting all this money. So he's like, because it's a kid's show, so there's kid actors on the show. So he's like taking money from the parents. So he's like saying like, yeah, I'll get your kid will sit in my lap. He'll have the screen time this time, and blah blah blah, and eventually gets fired, and Edward Norton takes over. But it has some just amazing like Robin Williams improv. There's one scene where he's trying to get Smoochie fired, and there's the kids segment of the show where the Smoochie the Rhino grabs from a bag and pulls out a cookie, and the kids are all singing about the cookie, and the cookie, yeah, looky, here comes the cookie, and it's a different shaped cookie. So like this one's, it's like a ball, yay, oh yeah, and Robin Williams has rigged the show without anyone knowing, so that all the cookies that are in the bag are shaped like dicks. And so there's this moment where just like, all right, here we go. Like, what is it, Smoochie? It's a rocket ship! It's a rocket ship! Yes, it's a rocket ship! And Rob Williams is up in the rafters going, fuck! Damn it! And he comes out and live on TV just like runs out. It's like, what are you, blind? It's a cock! It's not a rocket, you sick fuck, it's a cock! Look, it's a cock and balls! It's a dick! Chorizo and huevos, the big stiffy, it's a penis! Penis Maximus, a Willy, a weenie! Mr. Jingle Daddy! The one-eyed Wonder Weasel! Did you see that? It's Jimmy and the Twins! Rumble Foreskin!
Oh my god, I gotta see this movie. It's hilarious.
It's so funny.
Looking through the comments here, and this is from Jim Giblin, and he said, we were talking about Dead Poet Society being filmed in Delaware, and Jim's from Delaware too. He said that I was lucky enough to have had the opportunity to meet Robin Williams back in the late 80s when he was filming Dead Poets in Delaware. He and many of the cast came into its restaurant locally called Tavern on the Green to enjoy a great meal, and Jim was he had a coworker who was there moonlighting at the restaurant and was waiting his table, and he called me to come and have a drink. When I got there, Robin was working the room being loud and gregarious, and when he saw me, he made a beeline toward me to make fun of my weight. He was an awesomely, because Jim's a little heavy, he was an awesomely talented, funny, and hairy little man who just lit up any room. He said he only interacted with me for about 2 minutes in the 30 seconds that he stayed after I arrived, but the 30 seconds that he made fun of me were complimented by a free drink and a 90-second of apologies later that night. One of the best 2 minutes of my life. It was that's really, I think that's wonderful, and I've heard that from other people too. Just what a great guy he was. If you were lucky enough to have met him in person. Yeah. A couple other people. David Anson, he's watching us too. So we got a lot of live viewers. So I thank everybody. We really appreciate it. I'm sure there's other movies that we need to get to here. Just do the show a few more minutes longer. You guys remember Moscow on the Hudson?
Yeah,
Yes.
I like that one. That one's funny.
Yep. That one and The Fisher King.
Oh,
I just rewatched that today, actually.
That's my favorite. That is my
The Fisher
favorite
King?
Robin Williams movie. Yes, by far.
Terry Gilliam is such a wonderful director, and that's another movie that's got some Harry Nilsson in it.
Is that right?
There you go.
Yeah. Well, because and Robin Williams and Harry Nilsson were friends. So like I remember I watched the documentary recently on Harry Nilsson, just like how he was like essentially the fifth Beatle, because he was just like the guy that they hung out with and always were inspired. Like, who's your favorite band? Oh, I just listened to Nilsson.
Right. Oh yeah, I remember that. I remember hearing that quote.
And like there's a couple like just bits where Robin Williams would talk about his experience with Harry Nilsson, and he was just saying like how even to Robin Williams, Harry Nilsson was extreme. So it's just like I wake up on a boat like 3 weeks later. I'm like, where the hell am I?
But what a fantastic movie, and that's one too that I think people, when they saw it, they were just knocked out by his ability to do a dramatic performance. So a lot of course manic crazy moments in there, but he was of course fantastic in there. Jeff Bridges, that's one of my favorite Jeff Bridges movies.
Yeah, so. I totally agree too. Like he gets by like as far as like not having a huge amount of dramatic range in a lot of movies, like but people still love him, and like I still love him. But that was one where I was like, hey, you're giving it your all. You're not cashing this one in. It was a very heavy and thought-provoking film. But at the same time, very funny too.
Oh yeah, and I was gonna say Mercedes Ruehl actually won Best Supporting Actress for her role in there as Jeff Bridges' girlfriend.
Oh wow, I didn't know that. Yeah, she did really well too.
Yeah, she was fantastic. Oh, such a good movie. It's it's definitely gonna make you laugh a lot, but it moves you too. It's that's one I think I saw that I think 5 times in the theaters when it came out. For some reason, that movie just hit me. I thought it was just so incredibly well made. I mean, the performances, but the direction, the script, just fantastic. Yeah, fantastic.
Imagine we should bring up Good Will Hunting. I think.
We have to talk about that one.
I think John Reed had brought that one up.
Yeah, that's one I've seen several times. And just the scenes with him and Matt Damon, there's a scene on the bench, but there's the one what I'm sure everybody remembers, but the one in his office where he says, "It's not your fault." And he just, oh my God, incredible moment. It's really incredibly well done. And that, him putting on that Southie accent.
Yeah, a lot of memorable scenes in there from Robin. I remember him, of course, telling the story about. I can't remember if it was when he met his character, or his character met his wife, or he had to go see about a girl. I'm sure everybody, just by saying that, everyone will know what I'm talking about. And and he got the Oscar for that, Best Supporting Oscar for his role in Good Will Hunting, which was, he was such a good actor.
Well, and that's really and that's how Matt Damon and Ben Affleck came into the fold as far as becoming big stars, because they both starred and wrote that one, and I think it's because they were able, like a lot of good independent films, they build on a pre-existing awesome actor. In this case, they had Robin Williams, and that movie would not have done as well if it wasn't for him. But,
Right. I absolutely agree with that.
It's such a true like just so many different elements combining to becoming so perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, what a fantastic movie! Just looking over the list, I mean, we could never get to all of his movies.
No.
I mean, he made so many movies since he started making movies in the late 1970s.
Did we talk about
Patch Adams?
Oh, Patch Adams, yeah.
That makes me bawl. It's too much. Like when he's like standing over the like he's waited for, like, his girlfriend's been murdered, and he's like the whole movie's like him being a funny clown doctor, and the power of laughter, and heals all, and his reward is that his girlfriend is murdered. So he just waits for the whole funeral party to leave, and he has this one little private moment alone with her casket. And the second he starts crying, I will too, because it's too powerful. Like he just
can't not cry in movies like that, and with him. Mm-mm.
And like one thing that what a lot of actors don't do right as far as real sadness in a lot of things, like actually crying, is a lot of people get manic when they're crying, and there's a lot of times there's a laugh that happens when you're crying.
Mm-hmm.
Like just like I can't believe like this situation, like and he does that. When he does like depression and sadness, it's accurate. It's not acting.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I think he was channeling.
Oh, obviously, but that's why it's.
And maybe that's why so many people love him and connect with him, because he lived it and he experienced it and he brought it to his roles.
Yeah, and like how, like, and a thing that I'd read about him, like as far as just like when he was on stage with doing like improv and stuff like that, he'd go on stage and immediately he'd become this like beacon of energy, and just like he would outshow you no matter what. But at the same time, he's doing it for the audience, not for his own like I'm so funny. It's because he noticed that they could be laughing harder. Yeah, and that's the real key. Like, it's the fact that he gave that much into it, and he actually gave that much of a shit to make each of those roles that he did ring true. Like, they're not they're not fake. There's a lot of love that he put out, even in the sad stuff too. Like as funny as it is, he shines with empathy.
Yes.
Yeah. Such a passionate man, and it came through whether it was a comedic role, whether it was stand-up, or whether it was dramatic performance. He was never, to do that.
He was never half in. He was completely there. He was very honest in his stand-up, very honest in his portrayal of characters. I'm getting choked up.
I know.
I'm gonna laugh now.
Well, that's the beautiful thing. We're all going to laugh for the rest of our lives watching his performances, thinking of his stand-up, and thank you, Robin.
Yeah,
there was a comment. There was a comment up there that I lost in my feed, and maybe you have it, Buddy. But it was about Robin Williams inspiring someone to get into social work. Do you see that?
Yeah, actually, that was from Scott.
Thank you.
Can
you share that?
I don't know if I can share it on the screen, but I'll read it. Good Will Hunting is probably my favorite Robin Williams movie. One of the reasons I wanted to get into social work counseling as a profession. He thought it was a great movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can help some people, and that's I think that's something he wanted to do. Robin Williams as a person was to help people in his way, with his talents and his magic.
Definitely, he was great. Great actor, great performer, and from all accounts, a great guy.
Oh, yeah. David Anson just posted my absolute all-time favorite Robin Williams movie, which is The World According to Garp.
Oh, of course.
Oh my God! I read the book and watched the movie, and let me say, the movie Robin Williams brought that character to life in a way that I don't think any other actor could. Did you
Yeah.
see it?
Xavier,
I saw
have
it
you seen that one?
a long time ago. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw it a very long time ago too, and that was one of his, first really big hit movies. I think, Popeye had come out, but that was the first one I think where people were like, "Whoa, okay, we really got something here in this guy," because it was based on a very popular novel, which was dark.
Yes.
It had a lot of funny stuff in there, but it was definitely dark, and it was kind of a little twisted. It was a little bit out there, but he was fantastic in that. Really, really good. I know we had talked about that before on the show, Melissa. It's really a good movie.
If you haven't seen it or it's been a long time, I highly recommend watching it again. I mean, to see what he puts into, there's there's moments like him with his kids, and him and his wife have some troubles and things going on, and then his relationship with his mother, and she was this nurse, helping all these people, and he kind of, there's this whole relationship thing with him and his mother where, yes, he was her son, but he kind of felt like the afterthought because everything else came first at what she was trying to take care of. And then, of course, very sad part where he loses his son. But
Right, yeah. You saw like a wide range of emotions in that movie from Robin's character. Yeah. We are running a little late, a little over here. I did want to mention one other one because Xavier has it in his lower third there, and that's Bicentennial Man.
Oh my God, I only saw that one once.
Yeah, I really like Sam Neill, and there's a great cast in that one. Yeah, Rob Williams playing a robot who wants to be human.
Yeah. I remember seeing that one in the theater, and I think I've only seen it twice, but I remember it was unique. It was quirky, but it was a really good movie.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was very, I think what really ended up happening with that movie is that it's just Robin Williams trying to teach people how to be people even better. Because that's the journey of the android really is you can see the confusion of just like someone who's logical thinking, and once you start to bring in emotions into it, of just how confusing reality and just our the way that we live our lives really would be to someone as an outsider coming into it. So to be able to exist in this world is one thing, but to contribute or to feel belong, that's a whole other thing.
That's for sure. Well, folks, I think since we are a little over, we should probably wrap this one up. But I want to thank all of our live viewers tonight. We appreciate you watching, and not only that, but participating in the comments. That's definitely makes the show a lot more fun for us. And
Flubber.
What'd you say?
Flubber. 1 hour photo.
This is Doubtfire we didn't talk about.
Yeah, briefly, Mrs. Doubtfire. That's a horror movie, but it's funny because it's Robin Williams. God damn it!
They were about to do a Mrs. Doubtfire too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sad. Also, check out the Angriest Man in Brooklyn. That was one of the more recent ones that he did.
Yeah.
Very good.
Good one.
I never even heard of that one.
Yeah.
And of course, my kids love The Night at the Museum, all of them.
Yeah.
And there's a third one coming out. He just finished filming.
Yeah.
Right. I think he's got 4 movies that are still going to come out. 4.
Yes, there's 4 of them.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
The best thing that we can recommend to everyone who's listening, just go out there and grab every single Robin Williams movie, because there's going to be one of them that's going to connect to you so much more than we could ever just say.
Exactly.
And it's not going to be the one that we're going to be talking about. It's going to be the random one, and it's going to get you good.
Yeah.
It is. It's either going to make you laugh or it's going to move you in one way or another. And I'm a big fan of Forever of Robin, and like everybody, I'm going to miss him, but we've got his stuff forever, so that's fantastic. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
So thank you, Robin. And thank you guys for being on the show. Thanks everybody for watching, and we'll be seeing you real soon. Have a good night.
Good night, everyone.
Bye, guys.
See ya.
Bye.